Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Before I start, I have to apologize if I look sweaty. It's because it's really hot in my room and I can't turn on the fan because it's gonna leave a really weird noise, weird background noise, and I've decided to sacrifice my comfort for better audio quality. Today's video is going to be a bit different, and I'm sure you can already tell by the title. I'm actually going to sit down and talk about my journey through medical school, why and how it took me 8 years to graduate medical school. So it's gonna be a long video, be prepared. I've hinted at making this video several times in my previous videos, but I never actually got around to making it, and now I think it's finally time I share that with you guys. So before I start, I have to make several disclaimers just because I'm making this video and uploading this on the internet, and obviously what I'm going to talk about is a very controversial topic, at least in our country. So if you are offended by this very specific topic about private medical education, I suggest you stop watching this video right now. There are plenty of other content that you can watch online, so you definitely don't have to watch my videos. And I also have to add that what I'm going to talk about is just my experience, it's just my story from my point of view, my perspective. Obviously I can't speak for everybody, and this is just going to be about my story, about what happened, about the events that unfolded from the day I started medical school to the day I finished. I'm not going to state my personal opinion on any of these controversial matters in this video, just because I've learned the hard way that no matter what you say, people just believe what they want to believe. So please be kind enough to leave only positive comments. If you have something negative to say, just don't. So I'll start by saying I first went to a university in China to study medicine, and I was there for 1 semester. I didn't go back. Even though I didn't continue there, I'm honestly grateful for that experience because I have a lot of great memories from just that 1 semester, and I met some incredible people. I'm so happy that I got to have that experience. Just adding it here. So my story starts in 2013. That's when I first joined the Storytime medical faculty. Now, if you're not someone who's from Sri Lanka, you might not know what Storytime is. So Storytime is a private medical faculty. Well, it was a private medical faculty before it got shut down. So yeah, like I said, I started medical school in September of 2013. I was about 20 years old at the time. I remember turning 21 that semester, so I was 20 when I joined. So yeah, I would say the first few years were great. We were doing the preclinical subjects, learning the preclinical subjects, and these are anatomy, physiology, histology, and biochemistry. So I'm also going to add here that my parents are doctors. They are both consultants, and the reason that I'm saying that in this video is because I've received several comments in the past, several funny comments in the past, by certain individuals who made certain assumptions about me just because I'm from a private medical faculty, basically telling me how medicine is done in Sri Lanka. Obviously, my parents have worked in this country for more than 25 years and they've contributed to medical education as well. So if you think I didn't know what I was getting into, or I just entered medical school thinking it was just going to be super chill and fun, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into, or I didn't know how much dedication and hard work it was going to require, I just want to make it very clear that I knew exactly what I was doing. So please don't leave stupid comments like that. That's the only reason I'm adding that here. Otherwise, what my parents are doing is obviously not relevant to this video, but I'm just putting it out there because of those comments I've received in the past. Because the very first major exam we have as medical students is called the second MBBS, where you sit for your finals for those foundation subjects that I mentioned before. Yeah, so our main concern was, I guess, getting through those exams at that time. At least that's what I remember. So after your preclinical subjects, you start your paraclinical subjects, and this is also the time that other medical students usually start their clinical training. However, for us, this is when the first delay happened. And that was because there were a lot of seniors that had to finish clinicals before we did in order for us to start. So instead of starting clinicals right away, we had to wait a few months, I think. I just have to add that a lot of things are just a big blur in my head. I'm not sure of the exact dates. I just have like this rough timeline. I had to go down my gallery and find the dates. Maybe because I have PTSD from this whole thing, I don't remember most of the dates and specific events. I just remember how I felt. So I apologize if I make some mistakes when I'm recalling these events, because there's a huge chance that I may be off on some of the dates and some of the stuff that I might say. We started our paraclinical subjects, however we could not start clinicals. And again, I need to add that what I'm saying is that there was a delay in starting clinicals and not that we didn't do clinicals, because I know there's been a lot of lies circulating all over social media. Yes, there were certain issues, but all that could have been easily fixed if people who were responsible for this issue cared about us genuinely helping improve the quality of medical education. So, but of course, that's not what happened. We were taught by some of the best consultants in the country. I'm not gonna, like I said, get into those details. So yeah, there was this delay in starting clinicals, and I would say that's when things first started affecting me. Up until that point, even though there was a lot of noise happening outside of our university, those things didn't really get to me, and I don't remember a lot from that time period. I remember going for exams and being stressed about exams, but other than that, I don't remember much. So from 2015 to about 2018 is when things actually started going downhill, I would say, and this is when things get extremely blurry. I don't honestly recall the events, like the exact events that happened or the order that they happened, but I'll try my best to give you guys at least an outline. So I feel like the anti-Saitem protests were, like the anti-Saitem movement was the loudest during this time period. This is when it started gaining momentum. Now, I could be wrong, but this is what I felt like, or at least that's when it actually started to affect me. So I obviously couldn't go online without seeing somebody share some sort of an anti-Saitem post. It became a very common theme pretty soon afterwards. I mean, I would go out of the house and I would see these posters, these banners everywhere, literally demanding the government to shut Saitem down. And honestly, it just felt like we were this marginalized group, like it was just us against the world. That's what it felt like. Like we were up against the world and nobody really understood what we were going through. Nobody really wanted to hear our side, that nobody cared to hear about our side, that people have already made up their minds about us and about what our university was, and it was impossible to change that. That's how it felt like, at least to me. So like I said, I don't remember much about the events that took place, like the incidents that happened, but I remember how I felt. So this is the time that I started to get depressed. This is when I started to form this really negative, toxic thinking pattern where I would automatically expect the worst to happen no matter what the situation was. So this was obviously very detrimental to my mental health, and it was really hard to break that, and it happened because of what happened with the whole Saitem issue. It's because every time I try to stay positive or I expected something good to happen, the exact opposite would happen. Things would go wrong. The absolute worst possible thing would happen instead, and I just wanted to protect myself, I guess, from the pain and the disappointment. So I was also very numb, and like, I don't know, I felt this emptiness And at this point, I didn't really know if we would get a degree at all. There was a lot of uncertainty surrounding our future, and I felt like no matter what we did, no matter what we said, everybody judged us. That's probably not the case, but that's how it felt like. So I remember being really defensive. I remember having to constantly defend us and our university, and I guess what affected me the most was this uncertainty, the fact that we didn't know what was going to happen. We've already spent so much on our degree, and we didn't even know whether we'll get the degree. So there was just a lot of uncertainty, and that's what affected me the most, not knowing what's going to happen and having to let go of all my future plans, dreams, hopes, goals, just having to keep my mind blank all the time just to avoid disappointment, just to avoid being hurt, and having to defend ourselves and our right to do medicine and the reasoning behind our choice to do medicine to I felt like every single person I met. Obviously that wasn't the case. Not everyone was against us, but the vast majority seemed to be, and some of the things that were being said about us were pretty unfair and not true at all. So, and to be honest, it didn't really feel like people really wanted to know the truth. Like, it really felt like the truth didn't matter. What we had to say didn't matter. Nothing we say was gonna ever change their mind about us. Nothing we do was ever gonna change their mind about us. They've already made these assumptions about us, and it almost felt like it was impossible to change them. Felt like we were really alone in this, and that no one really knew what we were going through, and no one really wanted to help us. I remember feeling so helpless. It was really isolating at times because the only people who knew what we were going through was just us and no one else. So I think we started our clinical training in 2016. I remember being super excited to be actually going to the hospital and to be meeting patients for the first time. At that same time, all these things were happening around us, and this was constant. This was always there. This was always in our heads. This was always going on in the back of our minds, because it wasn't just something that we could ignore or get away from. Because I'm just telling you like a very watered down version of the events, because I genuinely believe I have PTSD. So I think when Saitam was officially abolished, to use the term the Antare used, I think it was 2017. I could be wrong, but I think it happened in 2017. I remember immediately having this sinking feeling, and I think I felt defeated. Like, that's probably what I felt. I felt defeated. Like, I felt like that was it. Like, there was no point fighting anymore. There was no point even having any hope at all. I felt like I've just wasted my entire early 20s and mid 20s on a degree that I was never going to get. I felt like I've wasted my parents' money. So I think after our university got shut down, the clinicals continued for a while. Even though it was officially shut down, we were still learning, we were still going for clinicals. But then it all stopped, and I think we were home throughout 2018. I could be wrong, but I think we were home that entire year. Honestly, this is when things get really, really, really blurry. I don't remember what I did during that time. I just remember being home and teaching myself how to bake just to stay occupied. But other than that, I just felt defeated, empty, depressed, and hopeless. So originally, I was supposed to graduate in 2018. Obviously, I knew that wouldn't be a possibility with all the issues we had at Saitam, but I never thought our university would be shut down completely like that, and that we'd just be home doing nothing. So this was like the absolute worst time period of my life. But all I can say is that I don't wish that on anybody, not even like the worst human on earth. So moving on to October that year, this is 2017 that we are talking about. That's when we were finally absorbed into KDU officially. That's when we signed the contract. Obviously, things turned around for us when we were absorbed into KDU, but this was in no way the end of our story. So we were absorbed into KDU around October that year, and I think we started our first appointment at KDU in December of that year. I remember being anxious about starting at KDU just because we didn't know what to expect, but honestly, that very first appointment we did at KDU was one of the best appointments in my entire medical school life. So we started the rest of our clinical appointments now under KDU, and we finished our pre-professorial appointments in 2019. Now, if you're not a medical student, you probably don't know what professorials are. So professorials are the clinical appointments that you do in your final year. They are called the professorials because actually I don't know why it's called professorials. Just let me know if you know. We officially started our first professorial appointment, which was psychiatry. That's how it was done for us. We all finished psychiatry first. We did that in July or August of that year. Hey guys, so unfortunately my camera died at this point and I recorded the rest of this video on my phone. So I apologize if the audio quality is not the greatest. I didn't have any other options, and I somehow lost this video clip where I explained what happened after psych professorials. I honestly don't know what happened to that, but it's just not there. So here I am explaining it to you guys on this voiceover. So we finished psych professorials and we had our long case and viva exam next. So I think by the time we finished our psych professorials, it was December, and we were hoping to start the rest of our professorials pretty soon, but unfortunately that's not how things happened. So we were all joined with an original KDU batch for our final year, for the rest of our professorial appointments, and unfortunately for us, the batch that we were supposed to join with hadn't finished all their pre-prof appointments at the time, so we literally had to wait for them to finish their pre-prof appointments. So yeah, the plan was to wait for them to finish their appointments and to start the rest of the professorials in March. So the video clip that you're about to watch now will tell you what happened afterwards. Again, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone or blaming anybody for this. I totally understand why it was necessary at that point and how hard it was to accommodate so many of us at the same time and provide clinical training for us. So I totally understand their side of it, but it's just that by this point so many things have happened to us and we've stayed home for so long in the past. It just felt like adding salt to our wounds. So yeah, we were home doing our electives, and I'll actually give you guys a chance to guess which year this next year that I'm talking about was. Yes, you guessed it right, it was 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. This is when the COVID pandemic happened. Obviously I don't have to tell you guys what happened. So yeah, there was absolutely no way that we could start our professorials. So we were home again, this time with the rest of the world for a change. I think it was in August or July when we actually started our professorials that we were supposed to start in March after waiting for 3 months. Yeah. So this time is also the time that I got Bean. My sister gifted me my little doggy, Bean. If you have a dog, you would know what I'm talking about. Like, it's honestly like the best gift I've ever received in my life. So yeah, this is when I got Bean. The pandemic and this weight was bearable just because I had Bean and I was occupied. He was just a puppy back then and I was taking care of him. And I also started this YouTube channel. I think I uploaded my first video in July. So yeah, I started this YouTube channel and I thought I'd just document my final year on YouTube. And yeah, we finally started the rest of our professorial training. Just when we were about to finish our first professorial appointment, which was 10 weeks long. So in your final year, you do your professorial appointments, and usually they're 8 weeks long, but for us, it was 10 weeks. We had to do it for 10 weeks, and around the time the first 10 weeks have passed and we were just finishing our first professorial appointment, actually the second one because we've already done psych, but first appointment of the rest of our professorial appointments, the second wave of COVID hit and we were home again. I have all that documented on my channel because I continuously vlogged during that time. So obviously they had to make a lot of adjustments and arrangements due to COVID, and there are a lot of things that were changed because of that, and that's obviously how it was for all medical faculties because certain things had to be changed. So I guess you know the rest of the story because I've actually vlogged the rest of my journey on this channel. So yeah, that's pretty much my story. So yeah, even though all that happened, there was also a lot of positives that happened during this time, and this YouTube channel was one of the main ones. And I've uploaded my first medical school vlog. I didn't expect anybody to watch it. I was literally begging my group mates to just go subscribe to my channel and watch my videos because honestly I couldn't even imagine anyone would watch my videos, but you guys did, and I'm super grateful for that. This channel kept me sane, this channel kept me going, this channel just helped me survive finally. So thank you so much for supporting this channel. I really appreciate it. So if you want, you can go and watch the vlogs I've made on this channel, but I just hope that this helps someone out there realize that sometimes life just doesn't go according to plan, but that doesn't mean you should quit. So thank you so much for watching this. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. So if you still haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in my next video.